back at it again, another episode of Timeless Podcast with myself, Nair, Denny, and Meldon. Before we start off this episode, please subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. So yeah, in this episode we got Jon Woo. I'll kind of let him introduce himself, kind of tell him what he does and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jon Woo, producer, lover of the music business, more recently manager-esque type vibes, owner of Producer Corner down in Louisville, big networking event, and that, father, that's that sums me up, man.
A little bit of everything in there.
Foodie.
Yeah, man does it all.
When did you get into music? Like how far does it date back?
I got into music back, like I'm a 90s baby. Well, I would say I'm an 80s baby, but I grew up off of like 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in that era, I guess what you call the golden era. So I got into it just by, I grew up off of like Run DMC and all those legendary old groups, and then I got into the Nas's and the Biggies and the Wutangs and things like that. You know what I mean? I got into music because I was in school suspension in high school, like I was always there. Yeah. And one of the pastimes, we would just write notes to each other, right? And this one kid wrote a rap, and it was like he was like battling me on paper. And I was like, oh, for real? Okay.
That's what we doing?
I was like, okay. So it made the time, it passed the time or whatever. So I wrote a verse back, and it was like my first, and I was like, that actually kind of sounds dope, though.
I'm straight at this.
So I started, writing raps, but that's when I kind of got into like Ness. I used to steal a lot. I was a big time thief, like Walmart. I was like the Walmart bandit. You know what I'm saying? And they hated me notoriously. And I remember I went into it was a Ness tape in a record store, and I stole the tape. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just stole it. And when I listened to it, I was blown away, because it was a song called Halftime, and I just never heard nobody rhyme like that. And it just like really blew me away. I felt bad for stealing the tape. That's how much I was like, oh shit.
Was that the first introduction to the music, like taking it as a career?
Yeah, that got me, like, because I was already kind of rhyming a little bit, and when I heard that, I was like, yo, this is so crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it made me go home and want to try to write like him, and that's what I did. And then I got introduced to Wutang. And that's where I got my name from. That's why everybody calls me Woo. Because I'm originally I live in Louisville, been there for 20 years. But I'm originally from Radcliffe, Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? 270. And out there, nobody was really listening to like Wutang. You know what I'm saying? So when they came out, I used to call, for all you newbies, I don't even want to call you newbies, but for all you young kids, I used to have what you call a tape deck. Right? It played square tapes, and so I used to call people on my phone and be like, listen to this. I used to just blast it on the phone. You know what I'm saying? So Wutang, everybody started calling me, my boy Gary started calling me Woo John, because I was like, here comes Woo John with his kung fu music. And then I just switched it, because after I got into doing raps and stuff, like a lot of people wouldn't let me in their studios because I was nice. You know what I'm saying? And they wouldn't let me in there. Back then it was all crews. Yeah. And they was like, nah, we can't have him over here. He's a little too dope. And so they wouldn't let me in their studio. So I started making my own beats, and that's how I got into producing.
So they didn't let you make your own studios because were you rapping, or were you just producing?
Back then I was rapping, but they would be like, yo, to use our studio, you got to be on our crew. I'm like, nah. I was like a loner. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no thanks. You know what I'm saying? But so I couldn't record nowhere. I couldn't get beats and stuff. So I ended up buying a little drum machine. Back then it was $500, and this is over 20 years ago. So $500 compared to, it's crazy because the prices went down to buy like production equipment. And I started making my own beats, and then I started getting really good at making beats. And and then I learned the business real fast, and I was like, oh, producers get paid first? I was like, yeah, I'm going to stick with this.
So how'd you because back then there was no really social media. What was the platform?
Your left and right feet.
So you were just there.
Move around?
Just move around. I used to do talent shows. I used to do all type of stuff. I used to record my own tapes, you know what I'm saying, like me rhyming over instrumentals and stuff, and we'll put those out. But back then we did have CDs. When I started producing, we had CDs, and I used to make a bunch of beats, and I would put them on a CD, and I would go to any music affiliated event possible and just give away CDs of beats. And then I would have like my name written on it, like the Sharpie.
Where they could reach
you
you
know,
and stuff.
thought that was high tech. It's like, yeah, this Sharpie and my name is like the next.
They gonna
level.
know who it is.
Right? They, and my phone number. Yeah, that's that's going out
That's
on
a
the
business
limb.
card right there.
Yeah, let me put my phone number. You know what I mean? So that was what we did, and but I got a lot of love off that. Built a lot of clientele.
Let me ask you this: like when we go to like I've been to LA and stuff. When you walk in Venice, down Venice,
Yeah.
you got these people just handing out CDs.
Yeah.
Since you have that background, do you take those CDs and actually listen to them, or you kind of like now you're like, just take that shit back?
One of the things I've learned over time, man, is like just staying up with the times and staying current. And my attitude is done the same. So when you give me a CD, I'm kind of like, what the fuck is this?
I ain't got nowhere to play it.
And why are you handing this physical object to me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where's the link set?
Shoot me a link or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me what's your Spotify, or what's your, DM me your music. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, but you're handing me something. I got to take. I know it's gonna sound corny, but I got to. This is a minute of my life. I'm gonna have to. You know.
Just put it in the damn machine, bro.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, so I don't diss anybody because I respect the hustle, but at the same time, it's like if you're an artist in today's day and age, and you're not hip to doing things the modern way, the way that are trending, then it kind of speaks volumes of, where you're at. Now
yeah.
that doesn't mean that you're not one to that can't be taught, but it's like, if you
Catch
just,
up a little bit.
yeah, so
Yeah, you gotta be at the top of your game, especially now. I mean, just with everything going on, it moves quick.
super fast.
Yeah.
It's easier to go out now, I believe.
I think so too. I mean, like I was watching, Adam 22.
Yeah,
He has that every few nights, whatever he does that thing. You basically you
pay.
give him $100 and he'll listen to your song on live,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
air, live, whatever. That's probably one of the best ways to get music out there. I mean,
yeah.
I heard a few songs that were straight. Most of them were pretty damn bad.
It's that's one way, you know what I'm saying? But it's really like when you get in the business side of it, when you really, really are like in a situation where you have a real shot to do something big, you realize how much work it is. It really is still a lot of work. It's not. There's a lot of things that are there's a lot of things that are different today. I wouldn't necessarily say it makes anything faster.
Yeah.
I mean, some things are faster, but it's just different methods of doing stuff.
I think you still got to put the work in, but the turnaround might be a little bit quicker now.
Facts, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Or you can meet more people.
It's easier to
without,
connect.
like you said, without your 2 feet, like not actually not going somewhere. Cause
Nah,
like,
definitely, yeah. I mean, shoot, I know you guys just had Ness on here, and just to kind of go into him, like it's like my brother. I love him to death, and he was like a master at the inbox game. Like I used to be like, how are you connecting with all these people? I'm trying, like I'm sending just as many inboxes as you are, but you getting like double the responses.
yeah.
But I was like, what's their first 3 words? I want to know.
yeah, because that's all they see. Because like when they
Yeah,
listen,
Thursday, yeah.
But it was just crazy. He was just linking, connecting with people, and plus his music was fire. You know what I'm saying?
It's a skill on its own.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just communication, right? It's like just being
Network
able
is
to.
big, yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
So what has helped you? Like, I know now. What's your main what's the main thing you do now? Because I know you're a manager and you're a producer. So like, what's the main focus? What's the main?
I like the business side of it, cause when I was coming up, I'm like, I think I could speak for a lot of people. A lot of people don't know their worth right now. You know what I'm saying? They're just kind of trying to get in the game and do but they don't know like their full worth. And so for a while I didn't. I met this dude named George Slaughter, who was he had a group in Frankfort, Kentucky. It was like 8 of us. He was like Wutang a little bit. I was like their only producer, and back then I had a real big reputation as a producer. And I remember I was going to go to a talent show, or not a talent show, a producer contest or something. And he was like, "Where you going?" I was like, "I'm about to go back to Louisville to be in this producer contest." He was like, "For what?" And I was like, shit, because I'm Jon Woo. I'm about to go crush everybody. You know what I mean? He was like, "What are you doing, bro? Like, he was like, you're Jon motherfucking Woo. Like, you don't do producer battles." He's like, "If anything, you should be offended that they didn't ask you to be a judge." And it kind of just opened my eyes to like my own personal value. You know what I'm saying? Why would you work this hard, build this reputation, only to just throw it out there for anybody to take?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that just kind of molded me as far as the business side, and it got me way interested in like knowing information and knowing what I could bring to the table, and that just kind of turned into this whole, you know what I mean? Like I started doing research on the music business, and so when I have friends that didn't know certain things, I'm like, oh, this is how you do this, or this is what this, and they're like, damn, how you know? And then more people will come, go talk to Woo, he knows, you know, and it just be turning this whole thing of where everybody will come to me for information. So it just kind of naturally migrated into like a management role. You know what I'm saying?
But you didn't plan it out or anything. You just kind of it happened naturally.
It was natural. Like I didn't like force it. It was just I just love the business and I love information.
I
and
mean, at that point you'd been in it for a little while too, so you kind of you put people on some game like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wendy Day, but she was one who came and worked with our group back then, and she wrote us I think it was a marketing strategy. I forget how long it was. But she actually went out and did the stuff with us, like in the streets in the middle of the night, like throwing up posters. And she was like, "This is what we need to do," and she did it with us. And I got the ultimate respect. But the things that she said would come back off the back of that, I really saw. So I was like, "Damn, she really knows what she's talking about." And that's what that also got me like really
into it.
Yeah, like wanting to know like the insides of how all that works.
So when was that? Because, like, I know posters and stuff, like, is that still a...
Man, this was, like, 2004.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 2004, something like that. I think, like, 2004, 2005.
How do you transition into, like, the times of 2004 and getting your music out is different now. So, like, how was that transition? What helped you? Because you're in tune with the Instagram and all that, too. And, like, I know a lot of people, and what they did in 04, is different.
Yeah.
So, like, what made that transition? How did you make that transition smoothly? Was it the artists that are coming up that kind of helped you, or was it anybody, you know what I mean?
I was one of those kids. I was one of those guys who, like, every time there was a new phone, like, I had it on day one.
Yeah.
And then, with the new phones came, like, the new apps. And, I remember when apps first came out, I was like, apps. I like, no lie, when they said apps, I remember when they said I was thinking, like applications that you fill out online.
Yeah.
What the hell is an app? Like, I gotta fill some shit out on my phone. I was like, no thanks. But it was apps, and so every time you got a new phone, you learn new apps, and I was always into that shit. So I would like just thumb through apps and go to the app store. What's out there? Like what kind of games, or and I would just find apps and I would just use them, and then I would always be privy to like what's going on in the music industry and what new platforms there are and stuff. I remember when SoundCloud first came out, when SoundClick came out for producers. It was just I was always hip, like always, just naturally. So
just always in tune, always doing the research.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how you gotta be.
And like we asked Ness on the previous episode, when was the first time you actually like worked with a name where you were like,
it was a big break, I guess.
Yeah, and you were like, damn, I'm
nice.
really
like, I'm in
here.
this shit.
My biggest thing. So, all right, so it's like two answers, right? And one of them's not really an answer, but so when I was probably like when I got out of high school, a few years after I got out of high school, I was doing like pretty bad, like I didn't really have no place to stay, stuff like that. But I was doing music, and everybody knew me for making beats and rapping and stuff. And I had an opportunity to move to New York. Like it just came out of nowhere. Somebody just called the phone and was like, yo, Woo, you want to go to New York? And I was just like, whatever. They got a place. Can I sleep somewhere? Okay, cool, done. I go to New York, and I ended up in Queens at this studio, and I got off the train. Within 10 minutes off the train, I was already in the studio engineering. Like I was already working like that fast. Yeah. So with the guys up there, they was always taking me like to Def Jam, and I would really be in these situations like Def Jam. I would be around Murder Inc. back when Murder Inc. was popular. That's dope. And I'm a kid from from Radcliffe, Kentucky, and I'm like, but it was so crazy that I wouldn't even tell people when I'm like, they're not gonna believe me. They're gonna be like, you're full of shit. Yeah. I was like, no, I really was at Murder Inc. office. No, you wasn't. And back then we didn't have camera phones.
You couldn't prove it either.
Yeah, so it was just like So it was funny because like I don't know if you guys know, but whenever I take pictures, right, I'm always they always say, man, you don't never smile. There's a reason. There's like a story behind. There's like a reason behind that.
Bro, I told them. I said, man, this dude me mugging everybody.
What's the story? We want to hear the story.
So in New York, I used to buy disposable cameras. you know, on cell phones you could like, let's take that over.
Yeah.
Disposables, you don't know what you got until you develop it, right? So I used to take pictures, and I would be around celebrities, like, you know what I'm saying, and because the guys that I were with, and then I would go get the pictures developed, and I always look like the cornball because I'm smiling, I'm cheesing super hard, like, yo, this is, and the artist is like, yeah, all right, hurry up, take the picture, bro, and I wouldn't show them to nobody, you know what I'm saying? So I said, you know what, the next time I run into a celebrity, I'm gonna look like I'm ready to go, and I'm taking a picture with him, and I'm, you know. So I started doing that, and when I saw the pictures, it worked because it looked like we was both in a rush. Like somebody took a picture of us, and you know, and I could be like, yeah, we was trying to go to the studio, and you know, and that just became like a habit. So my face just stayed like that. So, but anyway, that experience was one thing because I would be around those celebrities and stuff like that. But from that New York, like I came home, and my partner Bill in New York still had like one of my beat CDs. And I would send him beat CDs too. And he just happened to run into this kid named Stack Bundles. And he knew Stack Bundles. He used to go to Far Rock and all that stuff. And he calls me one day. He's like, yo, he's like, he put me on the phone, and it's Stack Bundles. But I knew who Stack Bundles was already because I used to read about him in like Source magazine. I'm like, yeah, he's dope. And you know, he was with
Dipset, wasn't it?
Desert Storm, like DJ Clue and all them. Cause I used to listen to DJ Clue tapes and stuff like that all the time. So I was already a big fan. So, you know, he put me on the phone with him, and that literally was just that, right? And then fast forward maybe, I want to say like 2 or 3 months, I just happened to like look online or something, and I come across a song called Sucker for Love, and I listened to the beat, and it was my track, and then I look at the credits, and it had my name, and they never met me. And they put my name in it. They was kind enough to put my name, produced by Jon Woo. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up meeting them when they came down for Jim Jones and T.I. and all them had this big concert. They came down to Louisville, and Stack Bundles was with Jim Jones. And I met Bino, which is my brother to this day. And I met Stack Bundles. I got to kick it with him and stuff. And me and Ness had a bunch of beats. And I gave them a bunch of beats. And they called me from the tour bus that night. It was like, man, we writing to these beats now. And I was like, man, that's like, it's on. Like, that's how, you know, I was like, man, it's on. And then like a month later, Stack Bundles got killed. You know what I'm saying? Which was devastating.
That was in 2007? Right? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Which was devastating because I was like, man, we were so close. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, the fact that he even got murdered was crazy because he's like a legend. You know what I'm saying? And he's one of my favorite MCs. But, you know, but yeah, so that would be my first, I would say the one that when I was like, oh shit, I really made that. I did that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and I still get love for it today. Like, people hit me up still to this day. You did this Stack Bundles week? Like, people in New York. And
that's dope, man.
Yeah.
This is a little off topic. I'm gonna go real quick into this. You said he was a legend, right? Mm-hmm. What makes a rapper a legend?
Yeah, we just had
a convo. Like, we were like, is Juice a legend? Is X a legend? Is Nip a legend?
Yeah. I think it's is it subjective or objective? I forget which one it is, but it's whichever one is like, it's kind of like of the individual. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because if you ask me, yeah, Stack Bundles is a legend because the cultural impact that he had at the time was big. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was a big voice, and you know, especially in his city. Yeah, like he was a big, like, you know, even where I'm from. I'm not big headed or nothing, but people call me a legend back home not because I've got plaques but because I'm like one of the few people that really went somewhere and did something out of my city. Yeah. So I'm kind of an inspiration to certain people. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Stack was like that to his city. So, and he was a big version of that. So, you know, same thing with like Nip. I think Nip is a legend. You know, in my opinion, I don't base it off of record sales or how many. Yeah. I don't base it off that. I base it off the impact you had. Like Biggie only had a couple albums out, 2 albums, but he's a legend.
Yeah. One of the greatest.
Because he had a huge impact on the culture.
Yeah, I think same ways. Like, if it affects the people it affects, because
how many lives you change.
Yeah. Like, he's gonna call somebody dude a legend, and then I call another dude a legend. Like, but like, I fucked with him and he didn't. I got something from him and he didn't. So like, that's the convo we had.
Yeah, we were talking about what makes him a legend or not.
Yeah.
But switching back to like the big names, like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of now, do you help any of the artists in Louisville now since you reside in Louisville?
Yeah, I help everybody I can, man. Like I try to help out everybody, bro. When it was a time like, so when I was coming up, it was a dude named Twin, my big brother Twin. I met him, and it's crazy because for a long time I was producing and making all these beats. I never had no equipment, never. It was always like somebody else's crib, somebody else's equipment, but it's somebody that I got cool with. And like the first person was like Twin. Me and him met. I go to his studio. I started making beats. We just got real cool. And he was in the military, and he used to go out to the field. Like they'd be gone for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And me and him just got so close. Like he was like, "Yo, here's my key. So whenever I'm gone, just come to the crib and make beats." You know what I'm saying? I had people like that. I had my partner Will, who did the same thing in Louisville. He invited me over his crib. We started making music. And then he would just be like, "Man, you can come over anytime. Like, I fuck with you." You know what I'm saying? My partner, Eric Ramos, who did the same shit. Whenever I needed a ride, or Jeff Puckett, whenever I needed a ride to, like, a studio. Like, Eric Ramos used to drive me almost 2 hours away. So it's 4 hours for him. Because he would drive me and drop me off, and he would go back. But it would be at the drop of a dime. Yo, Eric, I got to get to the studio. And all right, man. He come pick me up. No complaints. We just listen to music.
That's dope.
Crack jokes, and then he would drop me off and be out, and didn't ask for a dime. So it's just engraved in me to kind of do that. You know what I mean? I grew up in Radcliffe. I grew up with a bunch of dudes from Chicago. I didn't grow up with a lot of people from my city. I grew up with these migrated dudes from Chicago. You know what I mean? And they called it Gregory's, and they was a huge family. My best friend's got 6 brothers and 7 sisters.
Damn,
a bunch of crazy family. Cousins. Yeah, but we was like a big family. So it's like, when I didn't have nowhere to stay, they would always like just take me in and feed me, clothe me, whatever. You know what I mean? It was just not even a question. So naturally, when it comes to this music, I just have those natural instincts. So when I come across other artists, like people ask me questions, hit me up, I'm like, just buy me a cup of coffee, bro. Like, what you need, what you want to know. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I know. Here's what I would do. I just give that information back. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I help out a lot of people, man.
You said you didn't have equipment. When did you get your first piece of equipment, or first, like,
that I could say was mine?
Yeah, that you could say was yours.
Man, you know what's crazy? That at the time my first piece of equipment that was like mine was a machine. You know what a machine is?
A machine?
Like it's called a machine. Yeah. Those just came out not that long ago. So I probably went like 15 years without ever owning my own piece of equipment. It was always just, at one time I had keys to like 4 studios in Louisville.
So you use the people's stuff?
I was just, but it's just like relationships. I was just always good with people. You know
networking.
Yeah. Very honorable. I wasn't stealing. I wasn't fucking nothing up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I didn't get my first piece of equipment till like years later, like a decade later. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy.
You just had to work with what you had though at the time, so fuck it.
Huh?
You just had to work with whatever you had. I mean,
yeah, and that became the norm to me too. So it wasn't like weird to me. It was like, this is okay,
this is how you do it.
Yeah, you know.
I
was like, you're not doing that either. I was like, you bought your own equipment? What? Okay.
Was that what you were making your living off of back then for all those years?
For a little while, I was. Yeah, I used to hustle. When I came back from New York, Louisville was super slow to me because I had lived in New York for like 5 or 4 years, probably about 3-4 years, and I used to hustle mixtapes because nobody down here was selling mixtapes. So I would make a living off of that, or I would sell beats because back then I was making probably making 3-4 beats a day. You know what I'm saying? So I had a large catalog. So people want to buy beats, I sell them a bunch of beats. I remember y'all remember MySpace? Is anybody?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when MySpace was out, I remember I put a beat on there. Like at that time in Louisville, I might have been selling beats for like $50, $100. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember I put the first. Me and Ness was both like on there, like just messaging people and stuff like that. And you could put beats on your page. I put a beat on my page, and I was just we would write messages and copy it. I remember, if I'm thinking right, I think me and Ness talked about it one time. We was like, yeah, this is what we'll do: make a message, copy it, and just change the first name. And we thought we was on the most genius. We thought we had like struck the
gold,
cracked the code. You know what I'm saying?
That's the easiest way. It's efficient.
Yeah, but we was like, nobody else in the world knows to do this.
Yeah.
So we was doing this, and I remember like within the first 30 minutes, I had this dude named Austin, and he hit me up. He's like, how much you want for the first beat on your page? And it was one of those beats that was like, that's the one I'm not selling. And you got to think this is like over 15 years ago. And I was like, I want 500. He was like, all right, you got Western Union? I was like, hold up, what?
Ah, shit.
I was like, excuse me? I was like, you're going to give me $500 like now? And then he paid me, and that opened my eye. The next day I was like, copy and paste.
Was the next beat like 1,000?
Nah, it wasn't. Nah, I would still send them for like $300 or something like that. But I remember I would find these dudes that would buy beats in bundles. Like these dudes in LA would buy like 10 beats, and they would be like 100 a pop or 150, but they would buy 10 at a time and send me like $1,500. You know what I'm saying? Then I would go get my money, pay a couple bills, and buy stupid shit, like the dumbest shit ever. Like I could say that now, but back then it was like not dumb.
It made sense back then.
Yeah, back then it was like, yeah, these multicolored earrings. Yeah, I gotta have those for some reason.
Help you produce,
right? You know what I'm saying? So so that's what we did, man. And you know, just shout out to Ness too. I do want to say that because like at the time I stopped making beats. Because I was like, it was just like life happened, you know what I'm saying? And I think my one partner, he had like erased a hard drive on accident, had erased a bunch of beats that I had. Damn. And it like broke my, it like
hit you.
Yeah, it broke me down, man. It was like, this ain't for me. I mean, just chill.
Where do you go from here?
And I met Ness, and Ness, he would like hound me. Like he would just, I didn't know this kid. He would just call me, hey, what you doing, bro? When you go to the studio, you going to the studio this week? I'm gonna come. I'm like, who are you, bro? Why do you keep calling me, man? And then we just got cool. And when I heard his beats, I was like blown away of how talented he was, because he didn't have no equipment either. He had like, I think he had like a hack version of Fruity Loops with no extra sounds, no nothing. And the beats he was making were like phenomenal. And I would ask him to send me beats, and he would just send me like shitloads of beats, like out of nowhere. And I would challenge him. I would send him samples. I bet you can't flip that. And he would flip it in some way that I just couldn't comprehend. And I was like, yo, you are the truth, bro.
Did y'all meet at like a
y'all met at one of those conventions, right? The events like where you go.
We met there. And I remember I heard him tell the story. He's pretty accurate though. I did have on a fur coat, like a, you know, and I did have a record, but it was the record was my bro's native. I was giving all the DJs his vinyl, but at the time that's when I had a name. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so I, you know, walking in there with a fur coat was a must.
I'm the shit.
Yeah, it was a must. No. So, but yeah, after that we just stayed in touch, and he would come up from here, from Bowling Green to Louisville, just to go in the studio. And back then and that was my first. Just like I said, those other guys kind of did for me. It was like my first opportunity to repay that with him, and that's what I did. But I was like, man, you're gonna be the shit one day. We used to ride around I used to have a Neon, and we used to just ride around Louisville, listen to our beats. I'm like, man, one day we're gonna make it. Like we really said that shit. I know it sounds cliche or corny or cheesy, but we really said that. I really told him, you're gonna get a Grammy one day. I told him, you're gonna produce for Drake one day. Like, no lie. These are things that we said to each other, you know what I'm saying? And they happened. They came true. So, you know, but he pulled me out. Him fucking with me, like me having hope in him, brought me out of my slump. Yeah, it brought me out of my shit. So I love him.
When you were in your slump, you think like, man, I'm about to go work like a regular ass job, do some regular shit.
I was at a regular ass job, doing regular shit. It was terrible.
What'd you do?
I used to work at Humana, which is a fucking nightmare.
Insurance.
Yeah, I was at a call center.
They fucking suck. That's all I know.
It's a nightmare, bro. Let me tell you, it was a fucking nightmare. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, meeting Ness was like everything, man. I know he shows me love, but truthfully, it's like I gotta give him all the things, because like he pulled me out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
What's a word of advice you'd give to somebody? Because like there's a lot of people that hit that slump and give up, and I mean it's happened with us. I've said it many times that like you get to a wall and you just can't go anymore.
You get burnt out or something.
Yeah. I think one of the dopest things I've ever read, because I got into philosophy too for a little while. And one of the things I read, which I thought was super dope, was "Struggle's a Sign for Change." So it's like, you know, basically like if you're going through a hard time, you should, instead of like getting caught up in like how bad it is and this is miserable, you should stop and think like, okay, what's this telling me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to readjust something's not right. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of have that approach now. So even now when I hit a slump, or if I hit anybody that's in a slump doing music or anything, regardless, it's like take a step back and think like what I need to adjust. And the adjustment might be I just need to put it on pause for a minute. I need to go do something else for now.
Reset, yeah.
Yeah, reset. You know, that might be the answer. and sometimes take like if that's the answer, they'll take that as like a failure or something. You know what I mean? But no, it's just that's the answer. It's what you got to do to continue later.
For
You know what I mean? Like I heard somebody ask a question one time. You know, what do people think about the new rappers that aren't that lyrical and this, that, and the third and hip hop? And I heard KRS-One give an answer which I thought was brilliant. Was that as much as you might not like it, you gotta appreciate it because they're the ones keeping the opportunities alive for the person who wants to come back and be lyrical. They're the ones keeping it alive for now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's your take on that though? How do you feel about the music, the new music?
You fuck with the new rap, or you kind of
stuck in?
You still with the old, with like the.
I mean, I don't think nothing. So here's my like honestly, I don't think nothing will ever compare to the '90s. But that's just maybe I'm being biased.
Yeah.
But nah, I think I like it, man. I like it. I think music has its purpose. Every song has its purpose. The one thing I don't like though is like I kind of don't support all the drug shit because I think it's like, you know, just because it's out there doesn't mean that it's right. You know what I'm saying? But like the drug raps and all that shit is like when the depressive shit, and it's like, damn, dude, like you don't understand. Like some kid is out there listening to your shit thinking that this like killing himself is the answer because you said it. You know what I mean? So I don't really support that shit. Because like I said, I grew up when I heard Nas, it was written, I felt educated. I felt lifted. I was like
inspired, ready to go. Like
I was like, I'm gonna go read a fucking book. Oh, it must be really cool to read a book, right? And that's how I felt. You know what I mean? I felt cool to educate myself. But some artists, y'all don't feel like that. I feel like, you know, you sound retarded. But it, you know, I like a lot of new music, but that's the one type of music I don't really support.
See, my take is like I don't support the people like Lil Pump.
Yeah,
he goes out and he supports it. Like he's drinking lean
shit.
and all
He's
that
crazy
shit. Like
about
he's promoting it. But like rappers like let's say rappers like Juice WRLD. Yeah, kids listen to him and they I mean you try it because like if you want to do it, if you're on the border of doing it and you hear your favorite rapper talking about it, it's like
There's a
It
possibility.
might push you over the edge.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
actually
do
do
it.
something.
But like I think people like him are like he kind of
There's
he
an
kind of
emotional
said it was
connection.
wrong in
Yeah.
most of his music,
Yeah.
but do you think he's still right in talking so much about it? Because
Yeah.
that's his life.
and you know, so and that's the other thing too. That's why I don't get too judgmental sometimes because you never know. I don't judge a man without knowing his intentions. You know what I mean? So even though he's writing that might be his perspective, but maybe his intentions aren't to be harmful. I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So I just have to take it for what it is, but I don't get too deep into it. So, you know, and plus, you know, everything's a cycle, man. I feel like sometimes, like, a lot of that music might exist now and only to create change. Like somebody's gonna come out of it and be like, "Nah, I'm tired of this shit. I want to make more lyrical shit," and that might become
uplifting stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That might the business might start. The business of the music industry might start supporting that because that's gonna be the version of music that makes money now.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like every few years there's a culture change. I mean, like right now I think that's what's kind of, we're on the verge of that, kind of like the more depressive, more drug-induced music stuff. But now you have artists like, I mean, Russ is kind of blowing up a little bit. He's more lyrical. YBN Cordae, he's very lyrical. I think he's a very talented guy.
Super.
I mean, you got a few artists right now coming out that are still on lyrical stuff. Just trying to, I think it'll be a culture change here in probably the next 3-4 years.
Yeah,
I think it'll change again.
You know what? I think it happens so fast too that some people don't catch it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, it transitions smoothly. It's not like a shocking change. It's like it transitions. I mean, we had, say, I think one of the biggest rappers that started with the drug music was, I mean, Lil Wayne. He was a legend, but towards the end of his career, kind of it started spiraling down with drugs and stuff. And even in his prime, he was singing about like doing drinking lean, smoking, drugs, all that stuff. And it kind of shifted over to like trapper rappers. Like Future started just talking about selling drugs, you know, and eventually became all his music about doing drugs, heartbreak, depression, stuff like that. And then it translates into Juice WRLD and all these artists coming up now who are like just completely depressive music. I mean, people are building careers off that alone now.
Yeah, that's one thing I kind of hate. Is like some people are like, you know, it's like they're making money off of it basically. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm really not into this, or I'm gonna talk about it because it's what sells. That's the one thing I don't like. But you know, that's in religion.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's in everything. It's in a lot of things. So it's like, it is what it is, man. I think people got to be smart enough to determine what's what. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
I mean, kind of banking on the experience you have of being a manager. like this Juice World situation.
Yeah.
Do you believe as a manager that there's a lot of people saying that his manager should have took a hold of that? Do you feel like a manager should be the father figure to these artists? Because most of them, they don't even have a father. You know what I mean? So like, should the manager have all that reliability and should they be kind of
play that role
or should it be strictly business?
I think it's a lot of dynamics there. It just depends, right? It depends on their relationship. It depends on how long they've known each other. When did the manager come into the scene, or how much does the manager care, or whatever. It just depends on everybody's intentions. But what I will say is like sometimes you do have an artist that's maybe needs more guidance than others. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you never know. Like with Juice WRLD, you just don't know if like. Behind the scenes, you don't know if that manager's probably tried to get him to get right, and he's just like, nah. What are you?
This is me. Yeah,
this is me. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's a huge sense of entitlement in this business, and I think like a lot of artists lose sight of what got them to certain places, and they just think, I'm the biggest shit ever, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll think that that's what got them there, when really it wasn't. But they don't realize that's not what got them there. You know what I'm saying?
Your whole team got
they feel like they're doing everyone a favor around them by keeping them around, letting them be around them while they're in their glory and stuff.
Yeah,
but
so
really,
let me do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You think early age has something to do with that too? Just getting fame at an early age as well? They haven't fully developed.
I think maturity has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And maturity don't have an age. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
I think maturity has a lot to do with it. Okay. Some people just aren't mature. They're not mature enough to handle. It's like you could walk up to there's some 13-year-old kids you could give $1 million today who will turn it into a business and be successful. And then there's another 13-year-old who's going to take it and do not know what to do and blow it on the most ridiculous shit ever. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, and the same goes with a 25-year-old. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. You got a 25-year-old that's going to take it and blow it, and then you got 125 that's going to take it and invest it. So it just all depends on the maturity, man. Gotcha. And unfortunately, in this game, when you get in there and they're getting all this success, because it's not like just having a lot of money, it's also having a personality and persona that everybody views and wants to cling to, and that's a drug, bro. Like that shit it's hard to deal with on some levels. You know what I'm saying? It
gets people's heads, stuff, all the jewelry, all the stuff the labels buy you.
Yeah, and they
stuff like that.
They just go crazy. You know what I'm saying? They don't give
everything's so accessible to them. It's like no self-control.
Exactly.
And the thing is, but about that, there's really no guide to how to handle fame. I mean,
that too. Yeah.
Like who, you don't go to school for or anything like that. I mean, the very few people who have dealt with it successfully don't really come out about like what's their tips on how I handle the fame, and if they do, no one's gonna fucking listen to it. Yeah, because it was like, I know what to do. It's my life.
And a lot of the ones
so far, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. A lot of the ones who have made it have went through a lot of hell too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they came out all right. You know what I mean? But so it's just crazy, man. You just never know.
I don't really know many young stars that. There are very few people who start like at an early age, like Justin Bieber, stuff like that. Even he went through a lot of crazy shit.
I mean, you're in the spotlight, man. Yeah. Like you know what I'm saying? You in the spotlight and you can have anything in the world that you want.
Bro, I'd be the same motherfucker.
15-year-old, bro.
Bro, I'd be out there. I'd be buying dumb shit. I'd be spending.
But if you make it through all that, I think you have more knowledge more experience, more wisdom than a lot of people would if you actually make it through all that and end up doing okay. I think it's beneficial to you.
Yeah.
So what's your situation? Like, if you were, let's say you were in the seat of like Juice WRLD's manager. Would you what would you do if you knew you traveling with 70 pounds of weed or shit like that? Is it kind of like fuck it, I'm just ride it out because like it's paying the bills, or
you removing yourself from the equation?
Situation, yeah.
I mean, if I had to choose, me personally, I'm not speaking for nobody. Just me personally. I mean, I'm more of a moral guy than I am a business guy. I love doing business, but there's certain shit that I'm just not gonna do. Like I've walked away from situations that was super favorable for me, and I've left it all on the table. I was like, fuck it, all right, whatever. Like without thinking twice. Yeah. So situation like that, I probably would have walked away from it and probably would have been like, we can't be doing it. You know what I'm saying? But if an artist don't want to take heed or listen, what can you do? Yeah, I might have not got on the same plane or something. You know what I mean? If I felt like my freedom was in jeopardy, but
Yeah.
So have you turned down like artists like that? Like someone say, "Yo, help me out, sponsor me, be my manager, whatever." But you kind of knew them from around. You know they had a little bit of shady past, shit like that. Have you turned down anybody like that?
Yeah, I have. And you usually like turning them down. It's not necessarily turning them down. It's more like passively giving them an ultimatum. It's like, yo, yeah, I fuck with you, bro. Like, I'll give you whatever information you need. We can sit down and talk. But if you really want to be successful, like, this is usually the conversation. I'm like, yo, if you really want to be successful, you gotta leave a few things alone, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta
drop some friends and shit like that.
You gotta try to change up this because you're not gonna get too far. This shit's gonna get in the way. And then I leave it at that. Either they come back and try to be like, all right, well, shit, man, like, I'm trying to change up, like, or whatever. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like, 9 out of 10 times they don't.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I still fuck with them, sitting down, give them, because you never know. I might say something to them and it might save their life or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't hold that in. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like being full time and just dedicating, I got a 14-year-old daughter. Like, that means the world to me.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna get her time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, you got your shit to worry about. Like,
I'm only gonna go so far until I feel like, all right, you're really. It's not even disrespecting me. You're disrespecting my kid at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I might be running around the city with you when I could be staying at home playing a game with her.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna disrespect her by doing retarded shit, it's like it just makes it hard. But I can't. How can? If I was to have, if I grew up and let's say I didn't ever back away from, like, let's say Juice WRLD was wilding, he's doing all this crazy shit, and I didn't back away from it or whatever, and let's say I just put my daughter to the side because I'm like, oh, this is work, and I'm trying to do this for you and da-da-da, right? My daughter might resent me. What if she grows up to resent me, and then you do something stupid, like, and something happens, you're in jail or whatever, and then the situation is gone, and I'm looking at my daughter, but she fucking hates my guts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't live with that, bro.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So my daughter's first, family's first. So I do have a limit.
Yeah.
For situations like that.
You got a good moral compass. That's good.
Yeah, facts.
Definitely a principle in a lot of things. I feel like that's getting lost too nowadays.
Yeah, just kind of just being
People don't have
flooded out with
principle
money.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how far respect will take you, bro?
Yeah.
Like, it'll take you fucking far. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I kind of learned that early. Like, with all the, like I said, I didn't have a piece of equipment for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But I was always in the studio, a drop of a dime, anywhere I need to go. Shout out to my big bro Bulldog. Man, anytime you need to come here, just call me. He would come out midnight out of his house. He got to go to work just to open the door for me. You know what I mean? But it's all out of respect. So to me, that's more valuable because sometimes you never know when you're going to end up with nothing. And when you don't have nothing, if you don't have any respect, you really got nothing.
Yeah,
but when you have respect will put food on the plate. Respect will open the door, give you an opportunity. If I'm dead and gone, if I'm well respected and amongst my peers, they'll respect my daughter. You know what I'm saying? They'll open the door for her. So that's way more important than some business shit.
Yeah.
I agree. That's why some of these, like, even some artists that have respect in the game, like, even though they're old artists and their time passed, like, one artist is like Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fab. He just has the respect of everybody, and even though his time passed and he kind of fell off, he's still on the top. And
everybody work with him.
it's just respect. Like,
yeah, it's the love is there. It's like you ain't never did nobody foul. You've always done good business.
Yeah.
We like same thing with like Jadakiss and all these artists. Like, there's a handful of artists out there that's like that, and it's like they still get love. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be the artist I don't want to be the person that I was always in it for myself and for the greed and then when I don't have it and don't pan out, then all the fingers is being pointed at me, and you know what I'm saying. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying. I don't want my kid to have to get in a fight because her daddy's corny. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I don't want that.
Yeah, I feel that. And kind of the final topic that we wanted to discuss a little bit is we know you want to help the community. You want to get help back. So if you could explain your kind of the studio sessions you have and
Producers Corner, yeah.
Is it like kind of a monthly thing? What is it?
So it's kind of a monthly. I'm getting it back to being a monthly thing because it was a monthly thing, but it was getting bigger every month. It would get bigger and bigger. So these studios I would use, it wasn't enough room, so I had to stop and find like a bigger place. And I found a place called La La Land, which is a huge studio, and they was gracious enough to go and partner with me to have me hold it there permanently. So basically what it is, what the thing I kept running into, like I said, I had built a great reputation in Louisville, and I would always be, it would be like somebody would say, yo, Woo, do you know anybody that does graphics? I'm like, yeah, I know somebody. Holla at my boy Leon. He's probably one of the illest graphic artists in the city. Boom. Yo, do you know who does posters? Yeah, holla at my homegirl Michelle. She does that. You know what I mean? Hey, yo, do you know anybody got beats? Yeah, yo, Ness. Da-da-da. Yo, I know a couple other producers. You know what I mean? What studio should I go to? Oh, shit, call my boy Will. Call my boy Bulldog. If you call Will, it's going to be 50 an hour. If you call Bulldog, it's going to be 35, depending on, you know, all this shit. I knew everybody.
Yeah.
And it used to just, one day it just clicked in my head. I was like, how come y'all don't know each other? Like, I know everybody, but y'all don't know each other. So I just got an idea to, generically, it was an idea that just said, like, I'm just going to invite everybody I know that does different shit, and you guys talk. I'm just going to introduce everybody. Yeah, he does graphics. He's a producer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all just talk. You know what I'm saying? He does videos. And that's kind of how it started. And when I first did it, was like maybe 15 people. Second one was like maybe 20. Then the third one, I had Ness come down. This was at Ness's, like when he first got on with Bblasian.
Yeah.
And it was like that one had like maybe 30 people. I was like, oh shit, I got 30 people. You know what I'm saying? But then every time I did it, kept getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, oh shit. And so this last one I did had roughly over like 130 people.
Damn.
Like come out, and it was like,
That's
and they were,
dope.
the crazy thing is that they were all on time.
For real?
Which I was not expecting.
I mean, if people are coming for networking, bro, they're gonna. They're usually
something they want to do.
Well, I had some lead time. I was like, all right, give myself like 30 minutes lead time, you know, for people to show up. And people was like outside, because like the way La La Land is built, right? When you're in the kitchen in the first room, it's a glass window, all glass. So, and it was at night. So I'm standing there and I'm looking, and you just see faces looking in the glass because nobody's in yet. Because I was getting everything set. You just see faces like. I was like, oh shit, people are outside.
Yeah. Like looking so Black Friday line.
Yeah, so I let them in, and it was just a big crowd. So it was. I was blessed, man. It was good. So the next one is gonna be in January. I don't do them in December. The next one's gonna be in January. I'm gonna have another. I always have a special guest, and you know, y'all should definitely come out. Y'all would love it.
100%. We'll be out there.
Yeah,
we're gonna come to the last one, but
how can people know how they get in contact with you to get to it?
Yeah, just hit me up. Like what I do, because it's so hard for me, because since I do know everybody, because people will say, well, why don't you let me know? I can't like let you know, because it's like if I did that with everybody, it would take me forever to let everybody know. So what I do is I just randomly throw out a flyer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like first come first serve, and for people that want to showcase, and then then people who want to just show up and attend, they just see the time and information, then they just show up or whatnot. So
you post on IG and stuff like that.
Yeah, IG and Facebook.
We'll link
like
it. Sure, for sure.
Yeah, but that's like my two best ways of promoting it.
That's dope. I think that's something that every city needs, because like
there's so many people out there working hard in different things, different crafts.
Another thing I like is it brings people together. Yeah. Usually it's people competing against each other. This way it's like, yo,
that's dope.
Like, you actually dope.
Yeah.
Like let's work together instead of working against each other.
What I think is a kind of a cool twist to it is I break everybody into groups, which I just started on this last one. It's kind of rough. I got to kind of tweak it. But the idea is to like break the room up into groups, between 3 groups. Like you got producers, you got artists, and then you got content creators, right? So the people that I showcase, it might be like 10 people. Like an artist get up, play this music, and then I might say like, yo, so what kind of visuals do you got? Oh, I don't have any videos. All right, cool. You go to that group where the videographers are, you know what I'm saying, or where the content creators are, and then I do that with everybody. And then to me, it's like at the end of the showcasing, everybody's in a group that they need resources. You know what I mean? So they're kind of like forced to network with the specific resources that they actually need, versus because a lot of networking events that I used to go to, it would be you would go to them blindly, meaning like you were walking, you really don't know who does what. You're just kind of like, hey, what's up? My name is so and so. This way, it's kind of like matchmaking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
makes everything easier.
Yeah,
better flow.
So
that's dope.
I respect that, man. So we've been on here almost an hour. What we're going to do now is we're going to do like a little timeless 10 with just 10 questions, which they're the same questions for everybody. They're kind of just lighthearted questions.
Yeah.
None too serious.
Yeah, none too serious.
Ask me the no.
Ask the hard questions.
Yeah, just quick answers, and then after that, we'll break a clock. You'll write down your favorite quote and sign it.
Go ahead, start thinking of a quote.
I got one.
You got it? All right, cool. All right, first question. If you had to work but didn't need the money, what would you choose to do?
Produce.
Easy enough. If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be?
If I can disinvent one thing?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Damn, that's a hard one, man. Let's go back to that one.
We'll go back to it. That's fine. If you could meet one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
I already met him, RZA. Which was fucking dope.
I seen that post on IG.
Dope. All right. If you had all the money in the world, what would be the first thing you buy?
Damn. My mother a house, for sure.
That's solid. Gotta stay solid to moms. If you had one piece of advice for the young generation, what would it be?
Stop being so pussy.
Straight to the
Hey,
point.
they need to hear it.
I
They need to hear it.
Hey, today's generation is soft.
Yeah, I swear. Stop being a pussy, man.
All right. Who inspired you the most growing up?
Just period.
Yeah.
Even though we don't get along, my parents, like,
Yeah.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
like, that's common for everybody. Everybody butts heads with the parents because you're in the house so much. But
I mean, I did.
I think eventually you become your parents.
Me and my parents we had a terrible. I grew up in a very abusive home. You know what I'm saying? It was very bad. But the way I network is because I saw my mother was like that with all her friends. She talked to everybody, and it was like I just got that from her. So, and it's my biggest attribute, I think.
For sure.
So,
All right. Who's your favorite artist right now?
right now, shit. This goes for the same answer if I was to say Wutang, because Wutang counts as one.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Griselda. You know what I'm talking about? Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, Westside Gun.
I know Benny Butcher. I know Benny.
Flea Lord, all of them guys.
Fleetwood Mac. I know a few of them. I'm gonna have to get put on that one.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think the most common reason people give up is?
Self-doubt.
You gotta be your own biggest fan. You gotta believe in yourself before anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
One superpower?
Yeah.
Know everything, because if I knew everything, I could figure out how to
Do
do
anything.
else.
Yeah, you dictate
I
everything.
could figure out how to fly. I could figure out how to be invisible.
Shit.
Yeah, knowledge.
What's one thing you can't live without? A material item.
Like you packing your shit to Florida or wherever you're going, and you just bring in one thing that you always bring.
Anything with YouTube on it.
Like a tab with some kind of device.
Yeah, I gotta be on YouTube for some reason like that.
I rock YouTube heavy. I don't even watch Netflix or anything. I just go on YouTube, watch podcasts, watch.
I listen to
shit.
samples, like
Yeah.
even though I might not even be making beats, but I just listen to samples.
Yeah.
I would flip that. I'm not making beats right now, but I would flip that if I would.
Keep it in the back of your mind. Might pen something down.
Right.
All right, back to the one question. If you could disinvent one thing, what would it be?
YouTube.
Damn, that's a good question, man. Like, if I could disinvent one thing. All right, it's gonna sound fucked up.
Go ahead.
For the simple reason I said, for the today's generation, stop being pussy. Social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to
I like
connect,
that,
but I mean,
yeah.
I do think it softens them up a little bit. Everybody has
Man. They're so connected to it, and then they
can't get out in the real world and deal with real shit.
It's like get out the fucking house, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I used to walk everywhere in my city. I want to go somewhere, I will fucking go walk.
Bro, it's addicting too. Like I hate social media. I hate that everybody's on it. Like I'd rather talk to you,
Face to
face.
face.
But like, bro, I be on Instagram. I look through Instagram. I close Instagram. I open it back up the same second.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
You know
what social media is? Social media is your refrigerator.
I haven't heard that
That's
one.
great.
I swear. Because you know how many
great.
times I'll go to my refrigerator at 3 in the morning?
Same
Like,
shit.
look at what
Motherfucker,
it's
you
like.
know there's nothing in here. But for some reason,
Nobody
you
got
gotta go
groceries.
To it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, but
Shit, sometimes somebody puts something in the fridge. You know what I mean?
true. But I mean, social media would be my answer, because it's like, some of these young generation kids is so emotional, and
I agree, bro.
You know what I mean? They fall into like, it's almost like trendy to be emotional.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
It really
So,
is. It's sad.
So I would disinvent that. So
And what's the quote gonna be?
Dreams are the seeds to reality. Do you guys know what that means?
Dreams are the seeds to reality.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, but
What's your take? Let me ask you guys. What's your take on it?
dreams are the seats.
Dreams
Seeds.
are the seeds to reality.
Because if you have a dream, if you execute it, it's gonna be reality.
Okay. What about you?
That's what I was gonna say.
What about you?
Your dream,
Let me think about this.
because what you dream of eventually you want to be a reality.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
It don't mean that.
Shit.
That's how I know about that.
You wouldn't ask us if it didn't. Damn, I gotta think about it. I don't know. I mean, basically same thing. Yeah, whatever you believe is gonna come true. You gotta believe in
Yeah.
yourself.
So what that quote means is that everything that you look at, right? Whether it's this bottle, this computer, the chair, the table, everything that you look at when you walk outside the door, all started from a single thought from one person. You know what I'm saying? Everything. If you think about it, everything started from a single thought from one person. You know what I mean? And what makes a difference is whether that person was willing to go to whatever lengths to bring it into reality. So dreams are the seeds to reality. If you think of something, you really can achieve it. But a lot of people that get discouraged, they fail to just look outside their fucking door. Look at everything we live in, bro. All those things that you fucking, while you're being sad and emotional on your phone, somebody imagined that one time and built a team, and you know what I'm saying?
Made it happen, yeah.
And made it happen. So it's kind of ironic that, you know, or whatever. But yeah, so that to me, that's one of my most favorite quotes.
I ain't gonna lie, like I agree 100%. That's probably my favorite quote now.
Damn.
Not just because you're here, but like
If
I
you-
told them the same shit. Because I read the
Makes
book
sense.
0 to 1.
I ain't read that, but
You need to read it.
yeah.
And basically what it's saying is like, don't let people. Everybody thinks it's not possible. Basically, it's
Yeah.
go from zero, from nothing to an actual thing because other people did it.
Right.
It's basically like if you could dream it, you could achieve it.
And
That's
that's
what it comes down
fact.
to.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Dope.
I rock with that.
And now we're gonna have you just break the clock. It's kind of just a tradition thing.
All right.
If you want some glasses, I mean,
safety glasses.
you can put
Nah,
safety
man,
glasses.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm probably gonna lose an eye.
Don't hit it too hard.
Oh shit! Beat that man up.
I just smack that. You don't have to hit it hard as fuck.
Yeah,
you,
just
you
blast.
can just break it and then we'll clean it up later.
You got me.
That should be a good height.
Right there. We're gonna look at that camera.
You got me.
Yeah.
First.
Nah.